welcome everyone. Just want to have a quick check if you can hear me and if you can see the screen clearly, then just drop a 1 in the chat box please. We'll start in a few minutes. If I see that everyone can hear me, then we can get started.
Krijg toegang.
Alright, welcome everyone. This is the first live stream on YouTube, so if there are some issues, then just drop it in the chat box. I know there's a little bit of a delay. I think it's about 20 seconds delay of me talking probably and you seeing the screen, but I do have the chat box open, so don't worry about that. I will go over it. I will go over the questions in the chat box as well. For the people that know how I usually do my live calls, if there's anything that you're looking at for yourself, then feel free to drop the chart in the chat box. I do trade smart money concepts, so I don't trade normal support, resistance or trend lines or anything like that. But if you have a smart money setup that you want to have a look at, then don't worry about it, we can cover it in a bit. And according to Leia, I do have some people that are checking as well if everything's going correctly, so they will update me as well. We did have the disclaimer on the chart already, so please, I hope you all read it. If not, then re-watch the screen and read it, because we're not giving any financial advice. We do not want to entice anyone into taking a trade. What we do is purely informative, and it's just how we interpret the markets going up or down. That being said, let's go on and move on to the chart itself. So right now I'm looking at UJ. You can see where my alert is at around 109.42. I would love us to get up a little bit higher. If you're looking at UJ on a 4-hour time frame, there's imbalance that has to be filled, or that could get filled just a little bit above. And then if we look at a 1-hour time frame, it's the same imbalance, and on the 2-hour time frame we still have approximately the same imbalance, and we do have a small order block or institutional candle right over here. Now I'm not going to put any orders or anything right here, because if we zoom out, it's important to understand where we are on a bigger time frame. We did just mitigate from a daily order block, so the possibility is that we're just going to get higher. But if you look how the retracement, at least until this point, came, we do have a bearish scenario coming in. Yesterday was bearish, the day before was bearish, so we could see something happening in this daily zone. This is a bearish zone, there we go, and this is actually a daily, so let me mark up daily bears. There we go, daily zone. So we'll have to wait and see what do we want to see when price gets back over here. We want to see an internal break of structure, then the mitigation for us to go short. Where are we targeting? Yeah, probably this candle for the imbalance fill. But first of all, we need to have our confirmations before even thinking about entering the trade. we go to a smaller time frame, we see that in our daily zone we have this 4-hour imbalance at around 109.60 as well, and the wick, the complete imbalance fill of the wick, is 109.47, just like we mentioned previously. So it's possible the price can get up here, and then we can have a smaller time frame break of structure, and we can look for shorting opportunities. That's what I'm looking at UJ. Let's go over and cover the pairs. We have like AUD USD, which failed to break under the daily low. We were yesterday, I was looking at this possible point of interest, but because we came from a daily, I needed to see confirmation and an internal break of structure, which we didn't get, and we can expect some more bullishness on the AUD. From my point of view, we still have a 4-hour possible order block or institutional candle in this zone, or we have one higher. So here again, I will not put a limit order or anything on this zone. I will wait to see what price is going to give me. We do want to see again price chopping up, getting down, and then this will be our entry if price does that. Another scenario, of course, is that we're just going to get higher. This is an extreme candle, but you know what we mean. And then my opinion is that we're going to fill 75600 if we break above. So it's important to understand. Right now I don't see a clean or a clear setup. What I was looking at as well in the beginning of the week was we had this 4-hour point of interest, and we had this 4-hour point of interest. When we didn't see a clean reaction, I wanted us to come down lower to this 4-hour, but as you can see, we never got there. We never got to this 4-hour order block for us to go bullish again, so we didn't find a clean entry on it, and right now we'll have to wait and see where the market is going. CAD/CHF, yeah, my alert is still set to see if the limit will still be valid. For me personally, beginning of the week I was looking at it. When we came to TP2, for me this was a 4-hour imbalance fill, as you see on the left, and we never got to our entry. Now I will wait to see how price reacts when we get back up, what's going to happen, and if this will be a valid trade or not. Right now it is not a valid trade for me personally, so we can go over it in detail, but if we look at the daily, this is also a daily order block. We did have a reaction from it, filled 50% of the imbalance, and then dropped lower. So now it's a winning game, because we still have a daily imbalance that can get filled at around 0.74, or we can just go down lower. According to, if we look at oil, we'll cover oil as well in a bit. I do expect some lower prices for the Canadian dollar. CJ, same thing. In the beginning of the week, looking at this extreme high, because we did mitigate from the 4-hour on the left, 4-hour order block, or I see mitigation from it, and we came to the daily imbalance fill. So this was our daily imbalance. We did see a small reaction from it, but not the biggest reaction, so we have to wait. Price could come back up to 87.27 or to 87.76, or even the area where I was looking at in the beginning of the week. But to be honest, this will be quite extreme. If we get up all the way up here, then the limit will probably already be invalidated. So for me, I will myself put an alert. I don't have any pending set. I just put an alert to see if we can find something, and I'll have to put it over there. And I know that we do have this possibility as well. At this point it does look kind of corrective, so this is the movement down, and this looks very corrective to the upside right now. For me, it doesn't give me enough confirmations for my personal trade plan to just put a limit order, because we do have higher prices as well, and if we have multiple possible entries, I won't just go blindly in on just one entry, so I will wait. DXY, as you see, we did create our high, our low, we made a lower low. Where would I love it to come back? To this zone, 4 hour. And if we break above this high, because right now our structure, we have this as a structure, so we have to make a higher high, then we can get a retracement to the zone, break, and go short again. That's my point of view at this point, but we first have to break this high. As long as we don't break that high, then we can just keep falling. Definitely a possibility. So this is something I just monitor to see for my other pairs what I could look for, what looks interesting, and where I could find an entry on the different major pairs. Looking at Euro AUD, I'm putting an alert. This is something that I do like. I haven't set a limit just yet, but this is something that I'm anticipating to happen. If you look at yesterday, it was still very choppy. So if you just put on the sessions, this price action, if we just zoom in a bit, this price action was yesterday, and then we had Asian session, and it was another sell-off. But what happened during New York and London overlap, if we just zoom in on a smaller time frame, this happened yesterday during New York and London session overlap. Where did we come to? To the zone of the Asian session the day before. Now, preferably this would have been a London New York overlap session as well on the other pairs, but because the AUD is involved, it's also interesting. It's also of an interest for me personally, because the AUD can move during Asian session, of course. Now, what happened? We had an extreme sell-off, a corrective movement to the upside, and then we went lower. So right now, I would love to see us get back up to the 45-minute point of interest, which is around 1.61. It's also a nice round number, which is just above the 1 hour open. And on the smaller time frames, we have the 15-minute, but we still have imbalance. A little bit higher, 30-minute, almost the same candle. 10-minute, we could say like this is the extreme, 61.09. And if you look at the 5-minute, we still have a little bit of imbalance at 61.10. And the 5-minute open is at 61.05 approximately. So that's about 5 pips higher. Let's just delete this box because we don't need it anymore. And let's get the sessions off so the chart stays very clear. Where do I want to target? The daily open of this candle. So this is where I want to target. And if we get down here first and we see a bullish reaction, this trade will be invalid for me. I still have to mark up my partial errors, but looking at it like this, if we just take out this low, that's already a 125, but we don't know if this will be the low. 125, 127, something like that. I'm just going to give me just a second. There we go. 127, something like that. And eventually, if we can take it to the daily, which is at 58,624, I'll probably take 65 because it's a nice round number and I don't want to milk the trade. This is about a 129.60, but we first have to get up, because looking at the 3 hour time frame, it's possible that we're just going to mitigate from this candle. If that happens, because this is the 4 hour and the 4 hour looks good higher, but the 1 hour, you could say like you have the imbalance, you do have 2 hour imbalance as well, and a 3 hour candle. So it's possible that we come just to this candle, but then what do we want to see? If we just come to this candle, we want to see an internal breakout structure, get back up, and then we can go lower. So that's something that we have to wait for, or we mitigate from this 3 hour, but preferably we go higher just a little bit to the 1.61, and then eventually we can start selling it off again a little bit more. Euro Canadian tapped perfectly into my zone, but there isn't a strong reaction. And as you know, if I'm expecting more bearishness on the Canadian part, then this should go up. So I first need to see what's going to happen. If I see decent price action to the downside, decent, so not just like this is very choppy, I need to see a clean and a clear breakup structure, and then I'll look at the chart again to see if there's something happening. And then I have Alex asking for Euro AUD on a 1 hour, would you be considered of the equal highs at the 1 hour point of interest and the balance of 61.40. Let's just have a look. You're probably talking about this. That's true. That's also the reason why I wouldn't short it at this point. But looking at the reaction we got, that's for me the breaker. This broke structure to the downside. Also looking at a 4 hour time frame. If we look at a 4 hour time frame, this candle is the one that led to the break below these lows, and there's definitely still 61.43 as a possibility, but for me price shouldn't get that high anymore. If we get up to that zone, then I'll be happy to see what's going to happen, but I will not put a limit order on it, because for me this is the candle that happened, that's made the move. Then we have Euro Pound. Like I said yesterday as well, I would never want to buy from this 4 hour. So yesterday probably we were somewhere over here, and or it was in private or it was on a session, no problem, Alex. And somebody asked me like, hey, do you consider this as a valid buying area? And I would have only wanted to buy this if we came back, broke above, and then made a higher high. Only if we preferably even broke above these highs to get eventually to make a higher high, because these equal lows are way too obvious for me, where price should not react from. This trade for me, the complete trade, like the one that was marked up, is invalid at this point to me, but I do have my alert set. So as you can see, it's check buy. So I will not blindly buy it. I'll just delete it, sorry. I'll just delete this as well, because we don't need this anymore. There we go. So if I see an accumulation phase, a smaller time frame break of structure, I will look for an entry for longs. Only then. When price was stalling here last week, I put a limit order at 84975 last week, because we were stalling, we were leaving lows, sorry. We were leaving equal lows, and eventually I wanted just to that something like this happened, and then that was my scenario last week. Because we didn't get it, it's possible that we're getting it, we're still going to get it, but it doesn't mean that I will keep my limit in. It means that I'll wait to see what price is going to give me. Then we have the Euro JPY. Euro JPY, you can see it's for me to check if the sell would be a valid sell or not, a valid area, because at this point this was our 1 hour candle, this complete zone, but to be honest it left fairly equal lows, so these are targets for us. So if I look at it, I could say this is the first TP, let's say 129 200, and that's about a 1 to 5 200, that will be a 125, and this is how I personally mark up my chart, just to see where I'm going to put my TPs. And then eventually, yeah, we can take out this low. My extreme TP will be at 128,500. This will be my extreme TP, but I'll probably take another partial somewhere in between the 129.20 and a 128.50. Somewhere in between I will probably take another partial, just because we have to take partials along the way and see what's going to happen. So this is one of my setups that I'm still looking at. I do have my alert set to see whether it's valid or not. If it's a valid one, I'm taking it. If price doesn't, let's say for example, because a lot of people ask me like, when is it valid? If price does something like this with one bullish candle, for example, so this is a bullish one, so or even this and then another one, then I will wait for a smaller time frame break of structure. Right now it's still okay, because I do see that it isn't giving me very bullish reactions. It's just stalling a bit. We do have New York open in about half an hour, so we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But right now it's still stalling for me personally. Why do I like the 4 hour? Actually, I do like 130,300, but it's possible that we're going to miss it. And just TP1 is already a 125, so that's good for my personal log and for my personal setups. So why do I like 130,300 as well? Because it's a 30-minute, 45 we don't have too much, but on a 2 hour we still have this small candle that can get mitigated, and it's just also a nice round number. So if I can get in a trade at around 130,225 and it goes to 130,300, then I'm still okay. I won't say like, oh, it doesn't look any good. It still looks good then for me personally, just because it is another point of interest. 3 hour also is lining up a bit. We still have a lot of imbalance to get filled. Price could again react from 129.70 as well, but I will never personally, I would not put a limit order on 129.70. Euro NZD, just like Euro AUD, I said yesterday, this is very choppy. This is not something that I'm interested in. And then this happened, and it was a clear sign that it's time for a sell-off. Now we do have to keep in mind this was a daily zone. So if I just put it a little bigger, we do have this 4 hour candle that we have to look for. So this is a 4 hour candle. And will I blindly buy it? No, I will not, of course. I just keep this in mind that we could see a potential reaction. Do I think that we're going to make a higher high from this point? I don't know. We never know that. There's still a lot of liquidity for me sitting above these highs. But we do have to keep in mind that this is a very extreme movement. So what do we want to see? Again, we want to see price trade into our area slowly, give us an internal break of structure, get back to the order block or the institutional candle, and then go up. We have imbalance that could get filled, another imbalance that could get filled, and eventually an extreme candle. Don't think we're going to get to this extreme. This is, for me personally, way too high, but I'll definitely keep a trade, a small portion of the trade running to that high, because if we get there, and let's say if something like this happens, and we could get in with a very tight stop. This is purely hypothetical. See, this is like 1 to 6, 1 to 13. And if we just target the imbalance all the way up, it's a 1 to 22. And if we can take out the high, then it's a 1 to 29. So we don't know if that's going to happen, of course. We have to look what the price is giving us. But in between, you're taking these partials, or at least I'm taking these partials, and I'll be happy with a possible trade that goes up to a 1 to 14, for example, and then comes back to break even with the remaining percentage of trade that I still have open. It can be 20%, Can be 10%, can be 15%. It depends on your own trade plan, of course, but that's something that's very important for yourself to understand, like where are you going to take your partials, how many partials are you going to take, and what are you looking for after you have taken those partials. Are you looking for an extra entry? Are you going to hedge yourself into a position or anything like that? And then you can continue. Euro USD, nothing too clear on it at this point. This is the daily zone. We did mitigate a few times from the 4 hour, and now I want to see if something is going to happen at around 1.18200, 1.1815, something like that. I want to see what price is going to give us. So it's very important. There's nothing of true interest at this point on Euro USD for me. GA, yeah. There's yesterday a colleague of mine was looking to sell it. He didn't do it. It did play out, but eventually, yeah, I want to see some more price action on GA. If GA is going to follow up on EA, because normally they are sort of correlated, then we can expect some lower prices on GA as well. The only thing is we have to find a clean and a clear setup on it, because if I don't see a clean setup, I will not take it. And then we have Jambo saying EU and GU being no cap. Yeah, they're like lately a lot of major pairs for me. They don't come back to my entry and they just leave without me. So I did focus quite sometimes on. I do focus a lot on the crosses these days because they give me more opportunity. GJ, again, there's nothing. We did mitigate from the 4 hour and the 2 hour and the smaller time frame imbalance. When this occurred, I wanted to see us first of all break this low. We did break it, but then I wanted to come back up here for a shorting opportunity, but we didn't get it. So at this point, this is also a little bit of a waiting game to see where GJ wants to go. We filled 50% of this imbalance probably. They are the only pairs I trade. Yeah, if they are the only pairs you trade, then you have to be even more patient. But as we all know, yeah, it's the most difficult thing, being patient. So 50% of this imbalance gets filled, so we do have two possible scenarios. We can say, or the market did his mitigation already from this point and left all of this imbalance to be filled another time later, or this is the trade and it gives this is the one that's just going to fill the imbalance, come back up higher to one of these areas that we have. We have multiple different areas. We have a 4 hour at around 152.45, let's say. Another 4 hour imbalance at 152.97, maybe 153 as well. So now we do have to see, like, hey, where are you going? As long as price is just staying in between these zones, I will not look at anything on it. I won't. If price, because if we just zoom out, we had a daily zone, price tapped lower than the daily zone, but then this reaction was very bullish as well. So one thing that I've learned the hard way is they say, like, when in doubt, stay out. It's definitely a fact. So if you're doubting on a certain pair or it doesn't look clean or clear, I just stay out of the trade. Then we have GU. GU did react from the zone that I marked up, 3945, let's say, but there was never a break of structure. First of all, my first internal structure that has to get broken is this one. This is my first internal structure that I do want to see a break of structure on. That's why it's on my watch list. I do like it, and then I want to see this structure get broken as well. So we do have two structure points that we need to see get broken, that we want to see get broken. That's important for us to understand, like, hey, what's happening, what's going on. So as long as I don't see a break of structure, I will not even think about selling it. Some people say, like, yeah, we did come back to this 30 minutes IC or order block. Yes, that's true, but it never gave me the cleanest break of structure that I need in order for me to get in a trade. So as long as there's no clean and clear break of structure, no clean and clear point of interest which leads to another point of interest or something like that, or very interesting like price action, I will not take the trade. Okay. Yeah, it's possible, it's good. It doesn't mean that this is bullish to you that I cannot sell it. There's still imbalance to get filled, another piece of imbalance to get filled. Eventually this is also a daily zone, 4-hour zone. So for me, I first want to see a break of structure before thinking of shorting it. If we don't get a break of structure, possibilities are we're just going to get to 1.4050. We still have imbalance to get filled in here as well. We did mitigate from the 2-hour and the 1-hour from Feb 2021, beginning of Feb. So that's a long time ago, that's true. But we have to keep in mind what happened, why it happened, and where it came from. So I need to see that break of structure. No break of structure to the downside will not be an entry. I won't buy it either. I will not just buy it in here because there's no sign for me personally for us to just moon already. I do see the imbalance that could get filled, but based on this choppy price action, there's nothing sticking out to me. And let's see when this move happens. During London. So we do want to see what's going to happen, what's going to occur during New York, and then maybe next day, tomorrow, during London or something like that, we might find an entry. Or not. This will be a pair that I like, but I will definitely wait on it as well. Because just like Euro USD and GBP USD, they tend to leave without me, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to look at them anymore. NZD USD, yeah, mitigated from the extreme zone. Actually, I can delete this one because I already covered it. Why I would never put a limit over there. Neither would I have put it in here. But now we're coming to a 4-hour imbalance fill as well from this. So it's a waiting game. For this one, we have two possible scenarios. If we take out this high, then yeah, we're just going to fill the higher imbalance, the higher imbalance, and if not, if we can find a decent break of structure, preferably, then I'll look for shorting opportunities. This lines with the dollar. If the dollar breaks above, then we can come back up to this point. If that happens, then GU will come down lower for another buying scenario, and NU as well, and EU as well, of course, so keep that in mind. UCAD, in between two zones, 3 zones actually, so I will definitely stay out of this trade. I do expect more bearishness on the Canadian dollar, so I would expect more bullishness on USD CAD or on Euro CAD, or bearishness on CAD and CAD Yen. But that doesn't mean that I cannot trade the pullback. So it has to give me signs on the chart where it wants to go. If we can find a decent entry, a clean entry, it's good to take. If not, then I'd rather stay out of the trade, preserve my capital for next time, and be very patient in the trading stage. And then UJ, we already covered it, so you see I do have my alert set to see what's going to happen when we get up here, how we get up there, and at this point there's nothing sticking out to me. Let's look at, or the 15 minute, there's this small imbalance that's left. 30 minute isn't there anymore. The 10 minute is the same imbalance, and on the 5 we still have the same imbalance. Now, am I going to buy it from this point? No, I'm not going to buy it, but I'm just looking at the chart to see what could happen. This is also a kind of a bearish reaction, of course, this 15-minute time frame reaction, but then again, this one will just really be like, show me where you want to go, and I'll anticipate on this one as well, but I will not try to buy it, sell it before it gets to premium or discount levels. So we do have a 45-minute point of interest as well, a small one, but it's only on the smaller time frames that we have these things. So if this would have been on like the bigger, if this would have been of any confluence, like the smaller time frame with the bigger time frame, let's say a 2 hour or 1 hour candle, then this would be good for me to go. But just based on the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 3 hour, and the 4 hour, it doesn't show me the same candle. So the 45 does, and the 30 minutes actually doesn't do it anymore. 15 minutes, approximately the same, that's true. But if we only have these time frames like 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, then there's not enough evidence for me to just long it to sell it back down. So this will be a buy to sell, but I will not date it. If we see a reaction from it, great, but I'll just wait. Preferably I'll really wait on this one. What do I have still on the watch list? NZD Canadian, but this one will never come back to my point of interest. This was my point of interest. 4 hour, 3 hour, and a 2 hour, they all lined up. Still had my alert set, but then again, won't happen in my opinion anymore, or at least not to just, yeah. We have to be honest, like if we fall, we're going to fall from here, then this is like another 170 pips drop, so that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. NJ broke above, wick down, just like AJ did. I'll cover AJ as well. A loss that I've taken in AU CHF as well. There's nothing wrong with taking losses as long as you know, as you can, yeah, work around them, know that it happened, and just move on. If a trader doesn't have any losses, then he's probably only trading for social media trading or something like that. So everyone has losses. I'm not afraid to admit it. Yeah, correct. USD CHF is also on the watch list, so it is coming to the daily. We probably filled 50% of this imbalance. Just have a look. Yeah, so 50% of this imbalance got filled. So now we want to see what's going to happen. I really liked the daily at around 89.95. We still have a lower point of interest as well, 89.44. I won't just blindly buy it. I was looking at this because, yeah, I did like this 4 hour candle that happened, but I first needed to see an internal break of structure. You will be able to re-watch this session on sorry, on this YouTube channel, on the channel of Artis Academy. You will be able to re-watch this session as well, and we will post a lot of sessions on here as well. Forex, crypto, combined, different strategies of course, but we will post more sessions, live sessions as well on this channel. Also some very fun and interesting extra videos are coming up. So if you guys have any things you want to see on YouTube or anything trading related, just let us know. We'll be happy to see what we can do and to cover it. So looking back at USD CHF, I first wanted to have this high taken because this led to this low, and I first wanted to have a higher high created, and then I would have played this candle. Right now playing this candle is an aggressive entry and a very aggressive entry because it hasn't shown us bullish signs yet. Where did I want us to come up? Back to the imbalance fill around 191.300. But as long as we don't see the break of structure, some people will probably say like, hey, I'm going long with the stop or below this or below that. I won't do that. This is still a 1 to 6, but it's not because it's a 1 to 6 that I'm going to take it. It's because I need to see price action. I need to see that the market wants to go up. It has to show me proof, evidence that this is the right play. And for me, this 4 hour should have been taken already. Then I would have, I'll say it like this, if this one would have led to a break of structure above, I would have taken this 4 hour. I would have taken this entry, at least for that 1 to 6. And who knows, maybe to come back up to 92.400 to take out some of this liquidity. That will be a little bit like wishful thinking in my opinion, but it's possible. We have seen things happening in the past on the charts lately that is like, hey, wishful thinking, but they really move. One trade that let's just go over oil. Oil, yeah, going down again, of course. We did react from a daily zone. I think, yeah, we're going to fill this imbalance. I just wouldn't get a clean entry, but because of looking at oil, I do expect some more bearishness on the Canadian dollar pairs. That's the reason why I'm bearish on the Canadian dollar. Not like years or something again, but we have to wait and see what price is going to give when oil gets back to 76.50, let's say, to this zone. It's a huge zone, so not something that I wanna look for or look at. But this is not. This is for me like, or a break above, or we're going to mitigate from this and make a higher high, or we're just going to go lower, and then I think we can come back to 64 for a barrel, and who knows, maybe even back to these areas on a bigger time frame. 53.50, the weekly. This is getting interesting. This tapped into the weekly, so we have to see what's going to happen when we get here. As you see, this is the weekly, but if we break below, then yeah, I do think that we might come back to 54 on oil, and then we know what to do for the Canadian dollar. So let's see. Let's go over the AJ from, as you can see, this one took my stop loss and then eventually went the right direction. I would have never put my stop under this low because that's not according to my trading plan, but this one did take me out. Yesterday 80 shift as well. This was it, 80 shift. So there's nothing wrong with admitting a loss. This was the loss. Eventually we are going to get higher as well, but if we just look at NJ, it already made a new movement to the upside. AJ hasn't done that yet. Normally they should correlate. Can I spot an extra entry on it? Nah. The only thing I see is this 1 hour all the way down here. So let me just delete these markups because we don't need them anymore. Are they all gone? No, there's one more. Okay, so if we just mark up AJ again, let's do it on this session. Oh, this is a 45-minute, but let's look at the hourly, 2 hour, 3 hours, 4 hours. We have to know where we are. Okay, this is the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 15 minutes. Doesn't have any imbalance anymore. 10 minutes would be 84.27, and the 5 minute, let's just see. Alright, so my only thing that I don't like at this point is that AJ only has something on a 30-minute time frame and on a 45-minute time frame. I wanted to see some smaller time frame imbalance as well, and then I would have gone for a long opportunity. Give me just a second. Damn, this is getting a little bit out of hand. What's wrong with? Okay, sorry for that. So that's my only concern, that there's nothing on the other time frames anymore on the smaller time frames. So the one trade that I did catch yesterday was NZD Chef. This one was something that I did take for myself as well. I think it was on a 2 hour time frame. Yeah, it's the same candle, so I had a very small stop just under these lows, just to be sure, 9 pips, and most of my position was taken out at 4 hour at this imbalance fill. 63.99, 63.90 to be honest, 63.90. Most of my position was taken out. Still have a small piece running, and I'll just leave that running to see what's going to happen. But this was a trade. This was the one that I said I did. Yeah, I was enticed for more bullishness on NZD and AUD, so that's why I took it. I know AUD CHF did hit my stop loss, but eventually this one was, and AUD JPY, so I had 2 losses yesterday, but this one made up everything over a period of, the entry got triggered in here, and then we were like 16 hours later, so that's good. And now I'm just out of the trade, or almost completely out of the trade, and let's see where it wants to go. So to recap, something we have to watch, where's UJ, should be in my watch list as well. So we know what to wait for. Euro AUD I'm waiting on. Euro Canadian, as you see, the euro is getting stronger already, just not on Euro Yen. So if you look at the Canadian, is definitely moving down before New York open, because we see Euro Canadian getting back up again and not showing me the bearish price action that we want to be seen if we want to sell it. So there's no selling opportunity for me on it. GU, just waiting on it. I do like us to come lower, break internal structure first, second internal structure to be broken, and then I can see if I spot something. NZD CAD can be deleted from my watch list, to be honest, because we're not going to get there anymore in my opinion. NJ as well. USHEF, like still waiting to see where it wants to go. UJ we went over, and these are the remaining pairs. So yeah, I think we covered everything that was needed to cover. If you guys have any more questions, I'll stay on the session for a bit, but not too long anymore. Or if you have any questions, just make sure to write them in the comments. Later we will answer your remaining questions, and we will definitely cover everything. So the stream will be ending right now, but very important, as you can see, we still have Mondays crypto, Tuesdays will be Forex, Wednesdays will be Forex, Tuesday will be Forex by Sander, the impact strategy, Wednesdays will be Forex by myself, Thursday Anton is going to go live, and on Friday Alyosha is going to go live for his crypto as well. So we will have five live sessions every single week. We will upload a lot of videos in between, interesting videos, if I may say it myself as well, like the different prop firm breakdowns, difference between FCMO, my Forex funds, funding talents, the Fivers, and everything like that. We will cover all of these things, trading plan. So make sure to, if you're not subscribed yet, then make sure to subscribe, because there will be a lot of interesting information that will be shared, and we still have all of the live sessions that you can rewatch. So thank you everyone for staying on. This is a free YouTube. This is just free. So you can't say anything. This is a free YouTube channel. Free streams. These streams that we're going to do are free. So whatever we're doing on the YouTube of Artis Academy is completely free. So it's important to know. So I do want to thank everyone for being on, for staying on, and so yeah, it's we will share the live sessions, the hours, the times a lot, but if I say it in Belgium time, it's Mondays at 3 p.m. Belgium time. It will be Tuesday 8:30 a.m. Belgium time, so pre-London. Wednesdays will be the same time as today for myself, so 1 p.m. Belgium time. Thursday will be 8:30 a.m. Belgium time again, so pre-London. And Friday will be 3 p.m. Belgium time again for the crypto. So crypto, both days 3 p.m. Belgium time, and for Forex, one time at 1 p.m. that's on Wednesday, and the other times at 8:30 a.m. in the morning for Tuesday and Thursday. So thanks everyone for being on. See you guys in next week, of course, on this live session.